Hello and welcome to another episode of Atomic Vinyl Reviews. And today we are going to be doing yet another episode in my series or playlist, if you will, called Cheapest Online. So, go to my channel and look in the playlist section and you'll find it there. And in this series, we go through basically all the dirt cheap sort of stuff that you can find that's, Godzilla, Kaiju, or monster related that I feel like reviewing on this channel, because a lot of this stuff is like the really cheap stuff that you get from sites like eBay or AliExpress. Most of it's, the cheap stuff from China. And a lot of people haven't really gone through and reviewed a lot of this stuff, so that's what I'm here for. So today we are going to be taking a look at some sort of bootleg, fake Lego type minifigures of some Godzillas and some Ultraman figures as well. So without further ado, let's get to them. So I've already taken out the Godzilla figures, so I'll show those in a second, but I actually just got some Ultraman figures, so I'll kind of do a mini unboxing, even though I've technically already sort of opened the package. I'll just bring them in and we'll show you what it's like. So, they come in this typical sort of envelope that has already been torn by me. This comes in the mail, and they always come in little packs like this. So these are Ultraman figures. One of them is Ultraman himself, and the other is another Kaiju, whose name I forget at the moment. Hold on, I will cut back and I will let you know. Alright, so the other Kaiju is Baltan. So it's some sort of weird lobster type monster. Forgive me, I have not yet actually watched the Ultraman series, so I really want to get to it though, because it seems really cool. And just for note, this display here is a little, miniature city that I've been working on. I've been actually, if you've been following my channel, you may have seen that I'm doing full building tutorials and a whole series based on building model cities for your Godzilla and different Kaiju figures. So really worth checking those out if you enjoy sort of what you're seeing around here and you want to, recreate something like this for your own displays. But that's not what we're here for today. Today we're going to look at these. So first, let's get Ultraman out. So all of them, they come in these little bags like this, as you can see here, and they come in pieces, so they're pretty professionally sort of packaged and made, as you can see, and they all come with this little stand that we see in here. So just tear this open. So again, first time I've seen this Ultraman out of its packaging properly, so let's have a look. Those of you who don't know, Ultraman is like this sort of kaiju superhero sort of TV show that aired in Japan back in the sort of Showa era of Godzilla films, but it was, separate to the Godzilla universe, but the same people worked on it as a lot of the Godzilla stuff. So this stuff, as you can see here, nicely painted in that sort of silver and red, and the cool thing about these that I've noticed is they have the paint going all the way around the sides, so they actually put a lot of detail into it, and for the most part I'd say on the ones I've seen the paintwork is really good. So you can see here, got that nice sort of silvery Ultraman design, the red and the silver, little blue dot. I'm not sure which version of Ultraman this is because there have been a lot. Tiny little paint scuff on the red bit up on the top right there, if you can see on the body, like a tiny little bit on the red, it's a bit scratch, but very minimal thing. And the cool thing about these figures is they are extraordinarily cheap. You can find it like almost any character you want, pretty much. I mean, there's still plenty in the Godzilla universe that have not been made. Okay, so just putting his head on. His head is huge, but it fits with the Lego aesthetic, so I'll just kind of show you the head just on its own. Typical sort of Ultraman face. I'm not really sure what you'd sort of compare it to, but it's nicely done, actually. The paintwork's pretty good on it. Very, very much looks like Ultraman. And yeah, I don't know like where they get these. I think these like fan designs, and then they just sort of make bootleg copies of them, because these are no way official Lego bits, but they actually, the cool thing is they fit really well with official Lego. So they could pass for it, because you can even see they all come with these cool little base plates, which is really nice. Designed exactly like Lego, except for they don't have the Lego logo on the top of these nodes here, for those of you who experience with Lego, but nice little display base. And there we have our bootleg Lego Ultraman. So this is my first Ultraman figure. Well, I have like, you know, I have like a Bandai vinyl or two of like some Ultraman Kaiju, but I don't have any actual Ultramans in my collection. So there's our Ultraman. Now let's get Baltan out. So this is the weird lobster sort of Kaiju. Looks sort of like a bluish sort of almost slightly biomechanical sort of lobster man design. And again, I have not watched any of the Ultraman media, so I apologize if you people sort of get the context behind this guy, but I don't. Oh, that's cool. The cool thing is his face looks pretty cool, but the cool thing is it's actually, if you can look here, it's actually like a little human head inside a little cover. So it's not just a solid head. You can actually put this on any Lego person as a mask, unlike Ultraman, which is just its own headpiece. That's very cool. Ultraman looks really cool. So the legs on this one, they feel kind of loose compared to, but they still hold pretty well. They feel kind of loose compared to actual Lego figures, and you know, the quality control on some of these, like the Ultraman's legs, are pretty stiff. The first thing I noticed. So I've noticed, because I got a couple of these little Lego, fake Lego bootleg things that you can get from AliExpress. Got a couple of them, and the quality control on them is definitely less up to par with Lego stuff, because Lego is very tight quality control. But that said, these can be very high quality. It just it's kind of like the same thing, because I have a guitar channel called Jacob's House of Rock, and the thing about for example, like Squier guitars, for those of you who don't know, this is like the big name brand named Fender, and they have like a Chinese, because they're made in America and Mexico, but they have the like a budget version that's made in China called Squier guitars. And the thing, like the same thing with these sort of figures applies, that the Chinese made ones, the quality control is really bad on them, but you can actually get really good ones from China too. It's just because the quality control is a bit wonky, that means you're more likely to get one that's not good, but you still can get really good ones. So it's kind of the same thing with these. Like, I've seen some of these that are really super quality, and overall these, I'm pretty, for the price, definitely happy with these, because these cost like, I don't know, they can cost less than like from $1 to $2 or something on AliExpress. So they usually cost like I forgot actually, but it's, yeah, somewhere between $1 and $2 on AliExpress for one of these little figures. And it doesn't even matter if it's Australian or American dollars, because if you can probably find one for closer to like $1 American dollar, and then that would convert to almost like $2 in Australian currency. So I'm Australian, I live in Australia, for those of you who don't know. Sorry, my display is being a little wonky. So you can see this this cool little bit there. It's very well painted. It actually has some nice details in the paint. It's really well stylized, like a real Lego figure would be. And it's got some markings on his arms, on the back of his legs, and all around the body. So that's really cool, because they didn't cheap out by, they even made the this bit of the back of the legs, like if I just part it slightly, oh, look, this just came off, so you can see what I was talking about there. And if I part it slightly, you get like this sort of so you can even see that the back of the legs at the very top around the belt area even has a bit of paint there, so that matches perfectly with the torso. So that's really cool, because these sort of cheaper Chinese ones, they didn't have to go out and do all this detail. I'm sure people would have still appreciated them just fine. And then we come to the claws. So these are really cool. They're, you know, they've actually got painting and detail in them. Little sort of stripes there and a silver brown paint. And sort of coffee brown. And they just slide in like the normal hands would on a Lego figure. So you could, since these are in scale to real Lego figures, minifigures, you could put these hands on another Lego figure, I bet. Let's see if they'll fit in though. So I'll have to, whoa. So I'll just do this further away from the camera because I don't want to snap anything by trying too hard to do it in front of the camera. But they're going, this one's going in. The arm popped out, but that's okay. So you notice sometimes you can see some more seam lines in some of these bits, like the back of the hands, there's the arm, there's a bit of a seam line there. However, for the most part, you don't really, it's not, you know, something very distracting at all, I'd say. It's actually pretty well done. So, not sure if I can get this in any deeper. It's still got like a millimeter to go, I'd say. Okay, just twisting it around seemed to work. Just going like that, twisting it around and around like I'm screwing it in, basically. Worked fine, and now it's in there perfectly. We can put his arm back on. There we go. The paint works really nice actually on the body there. You can see he's got that sort of armored chest area, sort of done in this sort of blue color on a gray with the blacks, really nicely framing it. Some cool legs too. So, do the next hand. Hopefully this one will go in a little easier. So, it's getting there. There we go. Just angle them to the way I want, and the arms come off really easily on these too. If you've ever had Lego figures, again, you'd notice that the arms on those are really tough to get off. On these, they kind of just pop off, but they pop back on really easily too, so that's all good. Looks a little weird without the head crest and stuff, so we'll put that back on. Put the face back on. And there we go. So there's Baltan. Baltan, the Lego Ultraman figure. So these are looking really cool. You could have them fighting together. You can, you know, use a bunch of sort of Lego effect bits to sort of mimic lasers and all sorts of things, because there's lots of little cool Lego bits, which I have my little box of Lego minifigures here. As you can see, I was big into Lego when I was a lot younger, so I still have shit tons of this stuff. So let's take a look. Do I have any lasers? So you got like lightsabers and stuff. So I don't remember. What does Ultraman do? Does he like shoot a laser from his hand or something? Like, does he like do something like that and a laser comes out, or does it come out of his eyes? I'm really sorry, you guys. I know you Ultraman fans are looking at me going like, noob, what's wrong with you? So I'm sorry. I also don't know what color it would be, but you know, you could do all sorts of weird things with like lasers and stuff. So I'm gonna remove that because I'm probably doing it all wrong. So, but you get my idea. You can give Ultraman a lightsaber. There we go. Darth Ultraman. There we go. So just give these guys like a, I'll get rid of that actually, and then we'll give these guys a twirl, and then we're gonna get to our Godzilla figures. So, Ultraman. I need one of those rotating little bases that people have in their videos sometimes with figures. So very cool. I love this this little Ultraman here, and I forgot his name again, but this guy. Definitely a really cool figure. This is actually like you know how people collect pop vinyls and all that sort of stuff? I do too. I have a couple. I mainly collect like rock musicians and pop vinyls. I have like a Jimi Hendrix and a Lemmy and somebody else, I think. And Slash, and I have Alien, and I have the Godzilla one, and and Saul Goodman from Breaking Bad. Actually, I have a few. Yeah. So people actually got this here for another review that I'm about to do after this, but not of this, but of some Lego Alien and Predator versions of also these ones. I'm doing that in the next video. But yeah. So these are actually like a really good sort of alternative to like collecting sort of like pop vinyls of different things, because they're, you know, they're small, they're also really stylized, and they're actually, I'd say the quality control on these is about just as good as on pop vinyls, and they take up less space, and they're so cheap. So cheap. So it's, you know, I'd say, so like, I know people complain about bootlegs and all that shit, but these are awesome. I don't care. I don't care. Um, let's get to our Godzilla figures. So just the same as these come in lots of different colors actually. So I only have two. I have a clear green, which never quite comes out right on camera. In person, it looks a lot brighter and just a lot more cool looking. On screen, it looks like this sort of dark, slightly more muddy green, but it's a little bit more fluoro green, like a prettier color in person. But on camera, it comes out a little darker, a little more, like, a little less nicer. And I've tried messing with my camera saturation and colors and white balance and all that. I actually did it just before this video for like half an hour, messing with the camera settings to try and get this one looking good. I could not do it. It looks really really bad no matter what setting I put it on. Actually, I just noticed this one's hand is kind of sticking out a little bit, but I'm kind of scared to try and mess with it because it's kind of, because these hands are really fragile. So I'll try and do that later. But you can see there the hands sticking out a bit, but these would be a lot more fragile. So I'll put our Ultraman ones to the side. They can just be like dueling it out back in in the park here, back in the city or something. While we take a look at our Godzilla figures. I don't know. There we go. So, as you can quite obviously see, these ones are strongly based off of the 2014 Godzilla design. They are both the same design, just different colors. This one's gray with red and purple spines. Also some nice printing down the body. And this one's clear green with just some line work done on him, and some green on his chest there. And again, these scale work well with Godzilla figures. There is actually sort of a Lego sort of Godzilla costume figure, which I don't have, but it would be cool to put next to this and kind of see the difference. But I'll show you. I'll take one apart and I'll show you what it's made of. So again, they have this little base plate, all really nice. Well, the legs came off. Again, they have a little paintwork on the belt area. Nothing on the back, but the sides. Nothing on the back, but the sides are done in this cool little scaling wrinkle pattern. And the front's done really nicely. So, you can make, if you had like two of these, you can make like a four-legged weird dinosaur, because, you know, the 2014 design is those weird like brontosaurus elephant sort of feet, which I hate, but they did the nice version, sort of making a stylized version of them here. Again, sorry if you see me looking off to the side during this video a lot. I'm looking at my I have my monitor there just to see if everything is coming into frame and focus nicely for you guys. So just ignore me. Focus on the figures. So here's its torso. You can see it's got those cool little bumpy scales printed on its arms. All done in gray. The hands are gray, nothing on them. It would be cool if we actually got some sort of claw-like hands, sort of like sort of stylized hands, like this thing. But you know, I guess that would go away a bit too far from the Lego aesthetic. So what we got is pretty much fine. This nice sort of textured chest. It's got that armor plating and some of those bumpy scales around the side, which looks really cool. Again, you can really experiment with using these things for different figures and stuff. So I'll just plop him back on these legs, and that's what he looks like without this one solid piece, which is the main sort of Godzilla piece. You can see the teeth are nicely painted in. He's got the little eyes painted in, and a very 2014 face. He's got that really sort of rounded snout, sort of short snouted face that looks a lot like Barney the dinosaur, but more aggressive and not pink. And there are, you know, like I said, different versions of this. I think like the standard sort of one is like a opaque green, so not a see-through green, but sort of like a dark, foresty, solid green color. Even though Godzilla is not green, but it's the stereotypical thing to make him green. And when we put this on, you know, the tail sits flat on the ground. From the side, it works, but it looks a little weird with the legs sort of coming down straight and this, like, the bulk of the body heading back behind him. However, you know, since Godzilla was, you know, typically a man in a rubber suit, it kind of makes sense to have a very humanoid body, which is pretty cool. And the detail and the stylized version that they sort of went with, I think, is really well done. You know, it's even like, you look at it from the back, it's not symmetrical. It like curves, which is really nice. It adds a bit of more of a dynamic feel to this guy. You can pose him destroying his city and stuff, like all that sort of stuff. And overall, I really dig these figures. They did a great job on these. The quality control, I think, is pretty good on these. Like I said, the detail work is not sloppy at all on these. Like if you look on the arms especially, just the very tiny little dots they have there. Very well done, very clean looking, and they don't look sort of like cheap bootleggy things. They look pretty, these are much closer to feeling like real Lego figures than a lot of other sort of cheap Chinese fake Lego brands that I've seen. These definitely feel pretty close, apart from, you know, occasionally you might have like something like on the side of his head, there's a little bit of a seam line there with that dot there, and just some slight paint little issues, but they're usually very minimal. And again, these are so cheap, if you get a bad one, it doesn't matter at all. You can just get another one. You can get like 10 and just make an army of these things. So that's why I got the two Godzillas, because I was really curious about these two, what they would be like. And my only sort of complaint with them, I actually really like how the clear sorry to jump off track, but I just remembered. I really like how the clear plastic looks with the little details, like on the arms there and the painted lines. It's got a cool little effect. So I really like this. They have a nice little aggressive face. And if you want, you know, a Lego 2014 Godzilla that's, you know, not in scale with not in scale with any actual Lego buildings or anything, you need a huge Lego creation for that. But if you just want a minifigure that's a Godzilla, you can't really go wrong with these. They are really cool. Same with the Ultraman ones. I'm really loving these two. They look fucking awesome. The silvering is really nice on this guy too. The body silver and the face silver are a little different. That's the only thing, but it's actually not, I wouldn't say it's distracting at all. It's just the body's a little darker, but it's a very cool stylized version of Ultraman. So they look well designed, all of them. The only thing that I wish is that there was more of these things, like more Kaiju designs. I want a Mothra version, and I want a show, like the Heisei of Showa Godzilla of some sort. Just different designs of Godzilla, since there are so many out there. Because this is, the 2014 one is actually, like, aside from the one in Son of Godzilla, and what is called the 1998 is my least favorite Godzilla design. I have a whole video where I go really deep into that. Well, at least I don't know what order I'm gonna put these videos up, but I've already filmed it. Uh, but I like the design, I don't think it's Godzilla. So I'm a little sad they went with this version, but there's potential for more in future because they seem to be coming out with more every now and again. Like, for example, I don't know if they always had the Ultraman ones, and it's really cool that they're going with something a little bit more obscure, like Ultraman, for these things. So, really happy with these. They're cool little display bits, and I can picture somebody getting like a really big display of all sorts of kaiju like these. Like, if we got every sort of kaiju in this form, it would be phenomenal. So, I'm gonna cut to a size comparison now. Even though if you know how big Lego figures are, you know how big these things are. But it's what I do in every video, and people seem to enjoy it. So without further ado, let's cut to the size comparison. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that size comparison. So just to conclude the video, I'd say I highly recommend these if you're after a cheap sort of, or not even a cheap, just in general, any Lego esque figures of these. I know they're not official Lego bits and people have issues about bootlegs and all of that. I know, I understand. But these are really well done, and you'd be sort of disservicing yourself if you like the look of these, but for whatever sort of moral or some sort of reason that you don't go for them like that. I'd really recommend checking these out. They, like, you may get some quality control issues, it's likely, but I still think it's worth it, and it's worth that gamble. I'll show you one sort of issue. Like, here's an alien figure that I got. It's a really cool figure. I'm gonna, do I'm about to film another review where I review this one. But you can see this little base plate here. These, on this side, on the right here, those two circles, something went wrong in the molding process and they're really shallow and they're poorly made. So that's sort of an issue that could come up. Luckily, it's, on the base plate, everything else about it's fine. The base plate would still work, technically, with other Lego, so that's all well and good, but other than that, the figure was done perfectly. So those bits can come up, and yeah, if you know if there are any other kaijus in this sort of style, do let me know, because I will seek those out almost instantly, I think, because these are really cool sort of budgetary, really cool for this series especially, as like, budget sort of collectibles for Godzilla and Kaiju fans, or just any sort of fans. They have like everything. They have like all the superheroes, TV characters, like I showed you that, like other monsters like those aliens. I have a Predator. I also have a Ripley one, which I'm going to be doing in that the next video, which I'm just about to film. So yeah, just thanks for watching this video. I actually was meant to do this one much earlier on, but I filmed it and I really didn't like the results, so I'm glad I held out. And then I ended up because I just had these two, then these ones arrived, and I set up this little display here, so just to make it a little more fun, and I feel like I got my sort of thoughts together a little better about this video. So turned out a lot better this time, so I'm glad I held out on doing it till now. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. Sorry this cheapest online series hasn't had many videos in recently. It's been taking a little while. I have lots of stuff going on. Like I said, check out my building series about building these display bases. I'm really proud of how that's going, and I think it's something that's really, really cool for all you collectors out there. So yeah, without further ado, sorry. Without going on any further, may all your vinyl be irradiated vinyl. Over and out.